Welcome to Injustice in America, the Keith St. Aubin story. In this episode, we'll be taking a closer look at key details of Keith's case and his relentless fight for freedom. We're grateful to have you with us. I don't want any trouble. 5 simple words. Simple, but powerful. Because those 5 words tell you everything you need to know about what happened to Keith Michael St. Aubin on that fateful night 27 years ago. Keith wasn't the aggressor. He wasn't looking for a fight. He wasn't out there to cause harm. He was a victim then, and he's remained a victim every single day since. Trapped in a justice system that utterly failed him. A system that should have protected his life under laws designed to safeguard the innocent. Let's step back in time for a moment. Picture this. Keith, just 19 years old, a kid, out with friends, soaking up the excitement of Mardi Gras, a festival meant for joy and celebration. Keith wasn't a hardened criminal. He wasn't some street thug. He wasn't armed with bad intentions. But despite all that, the district attorney painted a very different picture. They called him a pistol-popping thug, someone dangerous, someone to fear. But let's be clear, that image, it was a lie that cost Keith his freedom and nearly his life. Keith tried everything he could to avoid conflict that night. He tried to walk away. He tried to defuse the situation. Hands in the air, backing up, again and again, he said, "I don't want any trouble." And don't just take Keith's word for it. The witness statements back him up. Over and over, people said the same thing. The white boy was retreating. He was backing up. He was outnumbered and terrified. And yet, he was being hunted down by a group of violent attackers. Did I mention these weren't just teenagers? No, they were gangsters. At least one of them was even in this country illegally. And one of Keith's attackers? He was on probation for organized crime. Just think about that for a moment. A known gang member, already convicted, out at Mardi Gras, violating his probation, and no one was holding him accountable. So what happened? They surrounded Keith. They trapped him. In their own words, they were going to click on the white boy. Now imagine you're Keith, alone, no backup, no protection. Even the off-duty police officer at the scene stood by and did nothing to intervene. So Keith, he did what anyone would do. He did what the law says he had every right to do. He fought to save his life. And let's be honest, it was heroic. Keith didn't want to hurt anyone, but when it came down to survival, when every door closed around him, he did the only thing he could. He defended himself. But instead of being recognized as a survivor, Keith was branded a criminal. He was stripped of his freedom, his youth, and his future. And where are his attackers today? Why haven't they been held accountable? Why was someone on probation for organized crime even at that festival? Where were the probation restrictions? Where was the justice? Now let's look at the bigger picture, because Keith's story, it's not unique. It's part of a much deeper, darker problem in our justice system. According to the Innocence Project, between 2% and 10% of all prisoners in the United States are innocent. In Texas alone, over 400 wrongful convictions have been overturned since 1989, and those are just the cases we know about. The odds? They're brutal. Fewer than 1% of habeas corpus petitions actually succeed. And then there's the AEDPA, the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act, a law that was meant to streamline justice, but in practice, it's shut the door on countless innocent people. It's a roadblock that keeps men like Keith from even getting back into court, even when new evidence is on the table. This is the system we're living with. A system where saving your life can be twisted into a crime. So I ask you, What would you have done in Keith's situation? Would you have hoped for the best or defended your life like Keith did? Keith didn't choose this. But when his back was against the wall, when everyone else failed him, he did what he had to do. He chose life. And how is that murder? It's not. It's self-defense. Plain and simple. That's why we have self-defense laws in Texas, to protect innocent people just like Keith. But in Keith's case, those laws failed him, miserably. His truth was silenced. His story was twisted. His character smeared. And for 27 years now, he's lived a nightmare because of it. And here's the hardest part. Keith's nightmare isn't over. He's still fighting every single day for his freedom, for his truth to be heard, for justice to finally be done. But Keith's not fighting alone anymore. We are here. You are here. And together, we can shine a light on the truth that's been buried for far too long. If you believe in justice, if you believe in the right to defend your own life, then stand with us, share Keith's story. Let's make sure the world knows exactly what happened that night and why this miscarriage of justice can't be allowed to stand. Because Keith's life matters. His truth matters. And this fight, it's far from over. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll go deeper into the legal missteps, the denied appeals, and the tireless fight to bring Keith home. Until then, keep asking questions, keep demanding answers. And remember, self-defense is not murder. Justice delayed is justice denied.